Sonny Liston's age has been a big subject of debate, being that he never had a birth certificate. Most insiders think he was born between 1919 and 1921. He was born in Arkansas on a cotton patch, one of 24 children, fathered by Toby Liston, to his second wife Helen. Liston would later say in life, "My father worked me hard, but whipped me harder." By age of 13, he ran away from the cotton patch and reunited with his mother Helen in St. Louis, thus started a street career with armed robberies, assaults, even assaults on police officers. He once threw a police officer headfirst in a trash can. And he also choked out another police officer and almost killed him, which he served 9 months in jail for. Later on in life, Liston would become muscle for the mob. He was a man of few words, but he was menacing, and he was mean for real. Liston was the real deal. He wasn't putting on no show. So here's a look at Charles Sonny Liston. Let's play the one boxing, man.
A few months ago when he was here to fight Howard King, and he can hit a guy in the elbows and just about break his arm.
Liston was a virtually invincible, just a dreadnought of a fighter.
Liston was a great fighter. I seen him knock out a guy's teeth one night. It's the truth, it's no baloney. Hit him so hard, he dislodged the mouthpiece and the teeth went with the mouthpiece.
And he had this very forbidding and intimidating, utterly hostile.
Liston was born on a cotton plantation in Arkansas. He was the 24th of 25 children.
Beaten every day by his father until he was 14.
But he had a tough life. You know, we talk about Tyson's tough life. A lot of people had tough lives. Sonny Liston had a tough life.
His abusive father beat him daily.
Welts on his back the rest of his life, could neither read nor write.
Liston's publicist, Harold Conrad, said of Sonny, quote, "I think he died the day he was born," end quote. As soon as he was able, he ran away and never looked back.
Sparkling young heavyweight named Sonny Liston, who came into the professional ranks an undefeated amateur champion. He TKO'd the veteran Julio Madero in 3 rounds that night. Tonight, the competition steps up. A tremendous youngster, this Sonny Liston.
The youngster was actually somewhere in his 30s. You see, Liston never knew his real birth date.
Sonny Liston.
Author Paul Gallender spent several decades researching Liston's life. He states Liston was most likely born between 1919 and 1921. The world never got to see a truly prime Liston. He most likely fought his debut fight between the age of 30 and 34.
Sonny Liston, coming out of the left-hand corner, wears the black trunks.
Every fight we see, every photo seen, all are taken when Liston is probably in his 30s. This is Liston's 20th fight.
Liston gets through with a good right hand and a left, and Bethia is in trouble already.
He was 19-1 with an early loss that he later avenged with a first-round knockout.
Liston throws it on. Bethia trying to defend.
He intimidated his opponent. They were intimidated before they even got in the ring. He was a massive guy. He was just awesome.
And Bethia's down. Liston was a great fighter. I seen him knock out a guy's teeth one night, and this is literally, it's the truth, there's no baloney. Hit him so hard, he dislodged the mouthpiece, and the teeth went with the mouthpiece.
Every time he hit, he broke something. I went to 10 rounds with him. He broke my nose, my left cheekbone, and gave me 72 stitches. Nobody ever hit me like that guy. I was an intimidator until I fought Sonny Liston. Sonny Liston, I think, was possibly the greatest intimidator of all time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, it's our pleasure to interview Mr. Sonny Liston, the heavyweight champion of the world. On September 26th of 1962, Sonny Liston won the title when he knocked out Floyd Patterson in 2 minutes and 6 seconds of the first round. The next time they met, on July 23rd of 1963, Liston proved that this victory was no accident when he again won by a first-round knockout. Millions of words have been written about Liston's long reach and his devastating style. Here's the way one sports writer described the dramatic defeat that Patterson suffered the second time they met. Scarcely a half minute had elapsed when the pile-driving Liston sent Patterson toppling to his knees with a vicious left hook and a teeth-rattling right to the jaw. After regaining his feet, Patterson began a panic-like retreat, but Liston was on top of him, pummeling him with a series of terrific smashes to the body and a bone-crushing right to the jaw. Patterson then hit the deck. It was all over. The whole fight lasted 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Just 4 seconds more the first time they met. Will Cassius Clay be next? We'll hear from the heavyweight champion of the world right after this message. Welcome to our show on the spot, Sonny Liston. We appreciate you coming here for this interview, and as you know, this is the third time we have met before the television cameras.
Right. That's once more than me and Patterson met.
That's right. I'm glad I didn't meet you under the same circumstances. Sonny, before we actually start talking about Cassius Clay and other questions I have in mind, how about demonstrating before the television viewers some of the physical prowess that you have? Would you put your hand alongside of mine and let's see, boy, my hand there is lost. Oh. Tell me, when you turn your hand this way, what can you hold without any trouble?
I can pick up a basketball.
A whole basketball. So a football would be easy or anything along that size.
Yeah.
What about your reach? Could you demonstrate your reach for us if you want to? You can stand up. I know you've got a 7-foot reach, supposed to be the longest reach in the history of boxing.
Yeah.
Well, that is long.
I would think Cassius Clay's reach about the same.
Has Cassius got a 7-foot reach?
Mine might be a little longer than
One more thing before we get in Cassius Clay. What about doing this? All the boys like to see you do that. That's all muscle, isn't it? Isn't painted.
They were intimidated before they even got in the ring. He was a massive guy. He was just awesome.
Sympathy is down. In his only defeat, that by Marty Marshall, early in his career, he later gained revenge. He knocked Marshall out in Pittsburgh. Liston knows he has his man and continues to hammer punches home.
Sonny Liston was a great puncher. He could punch with either hand.
And the referee, showing good ring sense, stops it. Sonny Liston wins going away. The fight has been stopped. Sonny Liston comes through with a sensational one-round TKO. Run for cover. The wallop in Liston's fist is something to behold.
After fleeing his father's abuse, Sonny found his way to St. Louis.
He goes all the way to St. Louis, from Arkansas to St. Louis, and it's an incredible, in itself, it's an incredible odyssey for a kid to take.
When I was big, I weighed 218. So I figured, I said, well, I'm a man now, I can take it on my own.
So begins the sort of life on the streets. And so he starts rousting people for their nickels and dimes.
He quickly graduated from ruling his neighborhood by force to armed robbery.
Until that lands him in prison.
He spent 5 years in the Missouri State Penitentiary for armed robbery.
Liston was in and out of prison, and for much of his life associated with less than savory characters.
He had a serious prison record, armed robbery, assaults on police officers.
This is a turning point of sorts for Liston.
It was here where his unique ability to fight was recognized and channeled into boxing.
Most people lose their careers in prison. Sonny found his.
This is Father Stevens, who ran the prison boxing program.
There's a quote from Father Stevens. He was the most perfect specimen of manhood I had ever seen, and talked about the big shoulders and the strength and the biggest hands.
He begins to box, wipes out the competition.
They had to put 2 or 3 in the ring with him to get him any kind of exercise.
He had 14-inch fists. And Father Stevens said it was hard to fit gloves, conventional boxing gloves, onto his hand.
He had these mammoth hands, right?
The ringside physician taking his vitals, he said it occurred to me that if he hit me in the face, he would hit me in my entire face.
Tonight, however, he goes against Billy Besmanoff, a young man who has never been knocked off his feet.
Wearing a white trunk, weighing 210, Sonny Liston.
Liston now has won 18 consecutive fights. 14 of those 18 by knockout.
He had a left jab in front of him, which was probably the best in all heavyweight history. Had the kind of a jab that went through you.
He had one of the greatest jabs of all time, if not the greatest. Yep. It was hard. It was a foam pole.
He split both of Willie Besmanoff's eyes, forcing a third-round stoppage.
Says there's no use trying to stop that one. Across the ring goes the referee, Mike Minich, and this bout has ended. And it was in a reformatory to which he was sent that he learned to box, developed an interest in boxing.
Liston had conquered the prison circuit, and Father Stevens brought him into a boxing manager who was owned by Frankie Carbo and John Vitale.
The father at the Missouri State Prison, he took him to John Vitale.
The mob, Frankie Carbo and John Vitale, owned him from day one of his boxing career.
Was alleged mob underboss and union racketeering.
Carbo secured Sonny's parole and immediately started his amateur boxing career.
He won the Golden Gloves here, and he went to the national championships where he had 3 fights. None lasted more than 3 months.
His amateur boxing career lasted only a year. He was undefeated. But boxing wasn't his only job. Liston was now an enforcer for the mob.
He was tired of cracking heads when the guys in the union go on strike. Sonny was a head cracker.
And they involved him, hired him to enforce their strikes.
He beat people up in the street because other people paid him money to do so.
Boxing by night and cracking skulls by day.
And he hated being owned by the mob.
May the best man win. Good luck to both of you. Sonny Liston in the white trunks coming out of the left-hand corner against Cleveland Williams.
Sonny Liston belongs among the 5 greatest heavyweights of all time.
And that hook catches Cleveland Williams.
In 1960, Sonny had destroyed the division.
He has awesome power. He's given us some exciting fights.
Liston blasted his way through every top contender in the heavyweight division.
I was an intimidator until I fought Sonny Liston.
He could punch and he knew how to fight. He had technique.
I had 147 fights. 4 world champions I fought. I fought 9 guys in the top 10. And nobody ever hit me like that guy.
Cleveland Williams is batted into submission.
Every time he hit, he broke something.
By Sonny Liston here in
It was a freak of nature.
Being called by many experts the uncrowned heavyweight champion, Sonny Liston.
The media portrayed him as a monster.
Like a tragic beast, almost like King Kong to me.
An animal to be feared and not accepted.
But the press hated him because Sonny did not like to talk. He used to say, I don't talk to my wife. Why would I talk to a man?
But Liston never really got past, and I think this must have haunted him personally too, the cloud of having been a convict, having the mob influence, having cops who just did not trust him.
Liston was hated by the public and hounded by the police for his past.
He got stopped 25 days in a row in Denver.
Liston was picked up for questioning over 100 times and arrested 16 times on charges ranging from breach of the peace to suspicion of theft.
When you went through the abuse that Sonny went through, that's what made Sonny a killer, angry in the ring. That's what made him knock out cops and put him in trash cans.
He wound up in another fight with a policeman, wound up putting him upside down in a trash barrel.
He served 9 months in a city workhouse. When he was released, the police told him to leave St. Louis or else.
But now the police were tired of arresting him and they just told him get out of town or else.
Sonny Liston, I think, was the greatest intimidator of all time. I've seen him stare guys down where they were so scared climbing up the ring steps they could barely get in the ring.
The mental part. The intimidation. Guys that live that kind of life, they can sniff it out. The guys that are real and the guys that are unreal.
Liston is known in the fight game as a man who likes to end fights early.
A rematch with Cleveland Williams went the same way as the first. Liston's title shot was becoming an inevitability.
And the fight is stopped. Ernie Taylor stops the fight. A TKO in the second round. And we'll get the time for you. Listen to this crowd.
Having left St. Louis, Sonny spent a few years in Philadelphia. Eventually, he'd purchase a home in an upscale Las Vegas neighborhood.
He's in Las Vegas, Nevada now. That's his hometown. A back view of his lavish home. There's the front. $85,000 it's supposed to have cost. And Sonny owns 2 Cadillacs.
The local residents were predictable in their anger.
They didn't like the fact that a black family had moved there.
Right.
And they thought, well, now that this Sonny Liston is moving here, what's next? Joe Louis? And in fact, Joe Louis did move in there.
With one of his best friends to this day, the former heavyweight champion Joe Louis.
Harris has been a professional for 5 years and has lost only one fight during that stretch of time, and that was to heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson.
A bout with the #1 ranked contender, Roy Harris.
Patterson's heavyweight championship takes on Roy Harris. 12 rounds. Harris has 30 wins and 31. Bigger Liston. Harris gets hit with a left hook and goes down. Liston shortening his punches, bangs home a hard right, and Harris goes down again. Harris is down again. Liston stalks his man, and a fast right to the head puts Harris down. The fight is over. Sonny Liston defeats Roy Harris and sets his sights on the heavyweight championship.
Everyone knew Liston was the best boxer on the planet.
Who do you want to fight in the ring in your next engagement?
The man got the title.
Mr. Floyd Patterson, currently the heavyweight champion. Let us ask you this, Sonny. What have you heard are your chances of getting that title fight?
I think it's very good from what I hear.
But his checkered past was held up as a cause to pass him over.
Most of America didn't want Liston to hold what was long considered the most glamorous title in sports, heavyweight champion of the world.
We know that as of December 1960, Sonny Liston was controlled by two powerful racketeer groups.
Are you associated with or have a business connection with John Vitale and Frank Palermo in the management or the contract of Sonny Liston, the #1 heavyweight contender?
I respectfully decline to answer the question on the ground that I cannot be compelled to be a witness against myself.
Liston was the last great champion to be delivered straight into the hands of the mob.
Unable to fight for the title due to the Senate investigation, Liston faced off against the German champion.
You see, Westlaw, the heavyweight champion of Germany.
From Germany, Albert Westphal.
And coming in the ring on the left side of your screen now is Sonny Liston, reputed to be the most feared man in boxing at any weight. Liston, who has won 32 out of 33 fights, 22 by knockout.
From Philadelphia, Charles Sonny Liston.
Worked since an early age, managed to get into trouble as a youngster.
That left jab, snake-like.
With that power, everything he threw was hard. Talk about throwing with bad intentions. Everything he threw was hard.
Count is 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The fight is over in the first round.
Sonny delivered one of the most savage knockouts of all time.
Who, by virtue of this one-round KO tonight, has taken a long step toward a fight with Floyd Patterson.
After 6 years of being considered the #1 contender in boxing, Sonny Liston would get a title shot. But New York wouldn't license Sonny, citing his murky history. Liston was nearly passed over again until Chicago gave the fighter his license.
Well, when they turned me down for a license in New York to fight for the championship, something I've always wanted to do. It was kind of sad that they did it, but Chicago made me very proud of it.
At last, he'd square off with heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson. Floyd was a young prodigy. Trained by the great Customato.
Getting the title.
They claim he's affiliated with gangsters and even worse. Others claim definitely that Sonny Liston is not entitled to this championship bout.
He's not who we would want to represent us. He's not the kind of image that we want. You know, this guy's he's been in prison. He's illiterate.
Comiskey Park, Chicago.
It was September 25, 1962 at Comiskey Park, Chicago.
The site of the most lucrative fight in the history of boxing.
Floyd insisted Sonny only get 12.5% of the gross.
The crowd booed Liston. No one wanted him to be the champion.
The challenger, favorite of the odds makers, enters the ring. Sonny Liston, winner of 33 of 34 fights, 23 of them by knockout. The most formidable challenger the champion has ever met.
Liston didn't care if Patterson was the fan favorite. This was Sonny's moment. After tonight, they'd have no choice but to embrace him.
Pennsylvania, Sonny Liston.
And you describe him in ways that sound like he was almost animalistic in the way that Mike Tyson was described early in his career.
The champion is restless in his corner, the challenger placid. Sonny Liston moves out to face the big chance of his 28 years of a turbulent life. The Liston hook to the head is the first good punch of the fight, taking off the effect of that left hook. A left, a grazing right, and a solid left to the cheekbone. Drop.
Boxing champion, Sonny Liston.
Time 2 minutes and 11 seconds. The first round, Sonny Liston had become the heavyweight champion of the world.
I mean, he had everything.
Around Sonny Liston, the 21st heavyweight champion of the world, jubilation.
Patterson was out.
Solid left to the cheekbone, dropped the champion.
The time, 2 minutes and 11 seconds. The first round, Sonny Liston had become the heavyweight champion of the world.
I mean, he had everything.
Around Sonny Liston, the 21st heavyweight champion of the world, jubilation.
Charles Sonny Liston had captured what was then known as the greatest prize in all of sport.
Charles Sonny Liston became heavyweight champion of the world on the night of September 25th, 1962, in a fight that lasted only 2 minutes and 6 seconds. His ring record ranks with the best.
Liston had expected that the dramatic victory would catapult him into the mainstream, that his past would be forgiven, and his future would be the adoration of the boxing community.
He believes he has wiped the slate clean, that he's going to be given a chance to become like Joe Louis, who's his hero.
He was wrong.
Liston got off the plane, returning to his hometown of Philadelphia, expecting a barrage of reporters and people to turn up.
And he just somehow assumed there would be a band and a crowd and the mayor of Philadelphia to greet him. And they got off the plane and nobody was at the airport. No band, no mayor, no crowd.
No one had come to greet him. And his shoulders just slumped.
It was a crushing experience for Sonny Liston.
He was devastated. He knew that this is the way it was going to remain.
He wasn't celebrated. He wasn't beloved.
The press never let Sonny Liston live down his past. Never let it happen.
He would never be given a fair chance in the public eye.
He decides if the public is going to turn his back on him, he's going to turn his back on the public.
Heavyweight champion Sonny Liston resumes training at Miami Beach for his return bout with Floyd Patterson.
Outside, he wore a malevolent scowl. Underneath, he longed for acceptance and love.
Well, Sonny Liston is a total mystery. He's the most misunderstood athlete of all time.
And he hit Lincoln with a shot, and Lincoln's helmet flew off, and we thought his head had flew off, you know.
The stitching on the headgear, when he hit you, it came apart. He knocked the stuffing out of the headgear. I mean, this guy could really hit.
Would hit the speed bag so hard that it would come off its hinges.
Sonny Liston's record has been and still is the subject of considerable publicity, mostly bad.
The first role model I had, no doubt the scariest human being I've met in the ring, the only man to make me back up consistently. Sonny Liston had this dynamic jab, the left jab. He'd get you going and you could not stop him. And then if you try to overcrowd him, he'd hit you with his right hand. And it was really strong and powerful man. Probably the strongest heavyweight I'd ever dealt with. Sonny Liston didn't talk much at all. He kind of look at you and you say, well, I don't want that. And he wasn't putting on being mean. He was just not the nicest fella you'd meet. And I said, if that's the way you're gonna have to be heavyweight champ of the world, I'm gonna be that.
Patterson appeared terrified of the rematch. Even his managers didn't believe he had a chance. They were right.
The first telling punch is Liston smashing right to the body. Patterson, trying to get underneath the champion's straight punches, runs into a right uppercut which sets up the challenger. The challenger's long right hand grazes the champion's chin, but Liston's countering left hook is on target and sets up the second knockdown. Two jarring right hands are followed by the knockout blow, the left uppercut. Here comes that first uppercut and the punches that follow. Patterson's body trembles under the power of Liston's left-hand smashes. And here comes the final sequence in the knockout.
Sonny, what's wrong with boxing today, in your opinion?
Well, I think it's getting guys in it don't know anything about it.
By guys, you mean fighters or managers?
Managers.
And you will lay all the ills of boxing on these managers that are not qualified or trained or
That's right.
not sincerely good managers? Well, in what respect is that the foundation of what's wrong with it?
Well, I would say a manager, as I tell my manager and my trainer, I tell them when the bell rang, I said, y'all the best duckers in the world. Y'all can stand out there and be ducking for me and never get hit. But I'm the only one going to get hit in there. And the manager don't feel it. So if the promoter would give him $1,000, he would take a fight. In which the fighter shouldn't be fighting a fighter like that.
Is there anything else wrong with boxing besides poor managers?
Well, I don't think it is. I would say besides poor management, everything is fine.
Sonny will return with our interview right after these messages.
And he had a great chin. He had balance.
But Liston's countering left hook is on target.
He could go body, go to the head. His legs were always in position. They were always under him.
Second knockdown. Patterson's body trembles under the power of Liston's left-hand smashes.
But after defeating Floyd Patterson the second time, many people in and around boxing thought that Sonny Liston was invincible, that no one could beat him.
He just had enormous natural kind of gifts as a boxer.
Patterson, bewildered, is not sure that the fight has been stopped, this time in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. Cus D'Amato, who discovered Patterson, comforts his defeated protege.
If he had only been given the second chance that every other athlete, in particular boxer with a checkered background, had been given.
I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat.
He was a 22-year-old by the name of Cassius Clay.
Liston, almost the first time he hits him. Could be one, perhaps two. I'll take one. Sonny, what about the fight with you and Cassius Clay? What's going to happen there?
Well, I can say one thing. If they get the tickets for the theater 2 weeks early and go and sit in the movie, and when the fight starts, everybody be going out saying, well, he didn't keep us long, and they've been sitting there 2 weeks.
Well, just interpret that right down the cases. It can't end before the first round. There has to be something that happens. Now, you knocked out Patterson 2 minutes and 6 seconds the first time you met, and 2 minutes and 10 seconds the second time you met. Do you think that you'll dispose of Cassius Clay before that?
Well, a lot of people talking about, he's done all this talking. I think that he's done this talking to himself to trying to push himself in the ring with, man.
Trying to get up to his nerve, huh? But would you care to predict, or do you think the fight will go beyond 1 round?
Well, I can say it won't go over 3.
Won't go over 3. What about all this talking that he's doing, these poems he's reciting? And he has one poem where he says he'll beat you in 8. Do those poems and all this talking disturb you in any way?
No, only thing would disturb me is if he'd be around for 8 rounds.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Is there any real hard feelings between you and Cassius Clay, personally?
Well, it isn't any with me. I know that it would be just like a guy coming in to stick you up. There's no hard feeling between you, but you got something he wants. So,
that's a very witty answer,
so
Sonny.
you couldn't feel mad at the guy. He's probably hard up, and you would like to keep what he come after.
That's right. Do you think all these antics and poems are going to help stimulate the biggest gate in the history of boxing? Is that one good benefit of all his talking?
Well, he been calling them right so far, except one, and everybody thinks that he's got it down pat.
He didn't call it right with Doug Jones.
No, I mean at the press conference he said at first he'll get him in 6, then he said he'd get him in 4. He said 6 and 4 is 10.
That's how he justified the fight going the limit. You once said that Cassius Clay should be arrested for impersonating a fighter, which I know is just a wisecrack of yours. You still feel that way?
Well, at the time I couldn't say that because, anytime 2 heavyweights meet, anything could happen. I mean, but I think I'm the best man, and I think that I'm going to prove to the public that he should be arrested. At least I'm going to try.
Well, now, in proving that, Sonny, I presume you're going to take this fight as serious as any fight you've ever had. You're going to go into serious training for it?
Well, I'm going to take this serious if I was fighting Joe Louis in his prime.
And what are your plans for training? When do you go into heavy training for this fight?
Well, 2 days after Christmas.
December the 27th. Do you know where the fight will be held? It sounds like it's going to be held in Las Vegas.
Well, I just told Jack Nyland that whenever the price is right, it could be at Cassius Clay's house as long as the price is right.
You still walk in there with 2 television cameras if the price is right, huh? How much of a gate do you think the fight will actually draw, counting receipts from television, people at ringside, and motion picture rights?
Well, that's where a fighter loses a lot of fights. He worry about what's the gate going to draw and not keeping his mind on the fighting. So what's the never draw, that's, I guess I'll get my share.
But do you think it'll be the biggest gate, money-wise, in the history of fighting. That's what the sports writers seem to think, and people that are talking about it.
Well, I hope so. I would like to see it be.
What do you plan to do after you fight Cassius Clay?
Well, I'm aiming to help him out with his palm so he can have a income, you know.
You want to see that he's taken care of first.
That's right.
But do you have anything in mind after you dispose of that little assignment for yourself, or aren't you looking that far ahead?
Well, I take one step at a time. Which this is no step, it's a half a step, I think.
This is just a slight gallop.
Yeah.
Cassius Clay decided to announce that morning he had joined the black Muslim religion, an unpopular militant group.
Craziest way yet in all boxing history.
You don't want to make Sonny mad. Sonny's bad enough when he's not mad. And I agreed to that all the way up, and then he hit the door.
Clay said anybody would have to be afraid of a crazy man.
It was all part of young Clay's master plan.
Cassius was smart, and he was clever, and he could get under Liston's skin more so than anybody ever.
I saw Sonny Liston a few days ago, Cassius.
Ain't he ugly? He's too ugly to be the world's champ. The world's champ should be pretty like me.
Well, he told me to bet my life that you wouldn't go 3 rounds.
Well, if you want to lose your money, then bet on Sonny.
It had to be somebody who was whistling past the graveyard, somebody who had to be scared, who was trying to, keep his courage up before he was destroyed.
He was older when Ali fought him. People, he was almost twice Muhammad Ali's age.
I believe he was probably twice Muhammad Ali's age. I think he was probably born in 1919. I believe when Sonny fought Ali in 1964, he was probably 43 or 44 years old.
Sonny didn't train at all. Came in there looking for a punch.
Liston fought angry, and he didn't train because nobody thought then Cassius Clay had a chance of winning that fight.
Very slippery.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
Look at the guy yawning. Tell us what you think at the end of
The
one.
results of the 2 Ali-Liston fights had far more to do with what took place outside of the ring than in it.
Sonny wobbles. Cassius has him hurt. Sonny has a big mouth below his left eye. And he's getting hit with all the punches in the book.
6th round, when Liston went back to his corner, Liston was a beaten man.
What do you think is going on in Sonny's mind at this point?
Well, I think that they feel now that Clay have all the confidence he needs and go home to defeat Sonny.
Cassius Clay, peripheral vision, sharp. He's looking over my shoulder. He's looking over my shoulder. He got up. We win.
Sonny Liston, not coming out. Sonny Liston is not coming out. He's out. The winner and the new heavyweight champion of the world is Cassius Clay. Fights ongoing.
And in 1964, he became heavyweight champion of the world, upsetting Sonny Liston, the 7-1 favorite.
Electrified, and there he was right in front of me and a whole bunch of other newspaper men pointing down to us like this. I told you exactly what I was going to do.
And nobody, even the big sports writers, they were in awe over what he had done.
I feel great. I don't have a mark on my face, and I upset Sonny Liston, and I just turned 22 years old. I must be the greatest. I'm the king of the world. Hold it. I'm pretty.
Hold it, you're not that pretty.
I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world.
What do you think about Muhammad Ali, former Cassius Clay? Do you think you can beat him?
Yes, I do.
The rematch with Ali was set. Liston's ties to the criminal underworld would take center stage. It was believed his wife and child were abducted, his own life threatened.
The second fight, he took a dive because his wife and his child were being held against their will. They were kidnapped. And Sonny was told, if you want to see them again, you have to lose.
But how are you so sure that your version of what happened in that second fight is true?
Sonny told Joe Louis, because they were very close. Joe told his wife, Martha Lewis, Joe's wife.
A number of theories have been floated about that second fight. As you know, Liston was in debt to the mafia through the fight to pay it off.
In the first round, Liston was hit with what is known as the Phantom Punch.
3.5 years later, Ali gained only a measure of respect by beating heavyweight champ Sonny Liston in Miami. But on May 25, 1965, in Lewiston, Maine, Ali was acknowledged as the rightful champion of the world when he dispatched Liston in the first round.
Second time, the cloak of invincibility was taken away from him. He was not the tough guy no more. Muhammad was his master. Muhammad was the guy that was going to kick his butt, and he did it again.
While most of the fight community grudgingly accepted Ali as a new kind of champion with size, speed, and agility, a significant few remained skeptical of the ease with which he won the rematch. With Liston's ties to the mob, he was suspected of having taken a dive from a right hand that would come to be known as the Phantom Punch.
All this time, Ali's standing over him, and those are the famous photographs where he's saying, "Get up, you bum, nobody will believe this. Get up and fight."
Years later in the Las Vegas casino, I asked Liston, "Did you go into the tank for that?" He said, no. He said, "Man, that guy was crazy." He said, "I didn't want anything to do with him. There was rumors that the Muslims were coming up and they're going to kill Liston. Who needed that?" He said, "So I get hit with a little light punch and I went down. I wasn't hit." He said, "I just didn't want any part of it."
The challenger, Sonny Liston. His opponent, the heavyweight champion of the world, Muhammad Ali.
15 rounds or less, the world heavyweight title, the big fight, the big night, round number 1. Here we go. You'll note that Cassius wants to stay out in the center of the ring.
And why did he throw that second fight? And there is no doubt that he threw that second fight.
He was threatened by the black Muslims, and he took a dive. Everybody knows it. I knew it.
There was no possible way that Ali could lose that fight.
I have no doubt that that was thrown.
And Liston takes a dive.
He was screaming at him, "Get up, you yellow bum, nobody will believe this." When Ali walked back to his corner, he told his cornerman, he laid down.
Every boss and underboss won fortunes with that fight.
Whether or not he decided to stay down once he got hit, I think he did. If you watch it, just doesn't look realistic. The way he stumbled around, he didn't stumble around like a guy whose central nervous system got jacked.
Every person involved in boxing knew Sonny had taken a dive.
Again, did someone get to him in those Ali fights?
This moment would come to define Liston and ensured he'd never again get another title shot.
But the fact is that Sonny Liston's wife and child were being held against their will. They told Sonny, "If you want to see them again, you have to lose this fight."
He's afraid of them. He was fearless, but he was afraid of them because they would kill him. Frankie Carver would chew him up.
Liston would carry on fighting for 6 more years, winning 14 in a row, 13 by knockout.
Deck goes down. It's all over. Now watch as Liston gets off some more blockbusters. Johnson catapults the canvas. He's flat on his back. The referee rules that the fight is over. Sonny Liston knocks out a game Amos Johnson.
In 1969, when Liston was between 47 and 51 years old, he took on the number 3 ranked contender.
He should be a good trial horse in determining how much Liston has left. Oh! Liston is knocked out!
He wasn't loved the way Ali was loved. He never got that love.
And I'm going up into the ring. They have not yet revived Sonny Liston.
Boxing had discarded him, used, and taken for all he had. He fought one more time, winning a decision before retiring unceremoniously. He was a mysterious, solitary man who fought with his own demons until the day he died.
That Sonny was ordered to fix a fight, didn't, and the mob got very angry about that.
We know he was around a lot of difficult people.
It is known that he was in debt to several nefarious types.
It has left a cloud over his career. We don't know
Sonny Liston, the former heavyweight boxing champion, was found dead last night in his Las Vegas home by his wife. He was 38. He had been dead for at least a week.
What happened, we don't know if he really overdosed, if he was hit with a hot shot, we know he was afraid of needles.
His wife and many would testify that Sonny was absolutely petrified of needles.
That didn't make sense to people that knew him.
Suggested a murder, not natural causes. And people have quibbled with me, but I'm telling you, I believe it.
Just as his birth was shrouded in mystery, so too was his death.
Wasn't too long ago, if you think back, that Sonny Liston was kind of considered the superhuman being, the unbeatable man. Remember, you used to see photographs of his muscles and of his tree trunk-like legs.
Charles Sonny Liston, an intimidator who remained a mystery outside of the ring, even in death.
On the surface, he was this sullen, sad, inarticulate monster.
That's all I know is a few words, and I've said them all.
But I think deep inside, he was misunderstood.
A fighter unlike any who came before him. A deeply hurt man who was born into violence and wielded it like few pugilists before him.
Liston going after Bill McMurray.
Sonny Liston, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Again, he's never going to get his due.
And McMurray goes down from a murderous barrage of punches. It's all over. The referee stops the fight.
Charles Sonny Liston.
One day I'll reach up on a star and wake up, build a cloud.
Liston always wore 2 or 3 shirts in practice or sparring to cover up the welts on his back from his dad's beatings as a child. The welts were crazy, so you never saw him with a shirt off until it was fight night. Not only that, Liston dropped out of school in 3rd grade, so he was illiterate and he couldn't read or write, which makes his rise all that more amazing. You know, like, Liston was a real street guy. He was a product of what the world did to him, and didn't ask for sympathy. He just rolled with it. You know what I'm saying? He hated being muscle for the mob and basically being owned by the mob. His death is shrouded in mystery, but like I said, this was a short look at the great Charles L. Sonny Liston. This played one boxing. See you on the next one.